To the Inner Solutions live stream. Today is March 30th, 2021. I automatically,
Inner Solutions
oh my
YouTube
God,
page.
hold on, I hit the wrong button. I automatically go into radio mode, which sounds like, hey everybody, welcome to the Inner Solutions anxiety page. Good boy Jim here with you to the Inner Solutions live. I keep hitting wrong buttons and it just makes it real like a mess. No, welcome to the live stream. This is a beautiful opportunity to openly discuss all things anxiety, panic attacks, and mental health, depression, compulsion, addiction, OCD, and its relation to you, your life, and really most importantly, what's going on with you and how can we start to change and shift that. So this is a perfect time to put in your questions into the chat. And we need to go live on Facebook. Absolutely right now. Anxiety and mental health Q&A. So if you're here watching live on YouTube, feel free to put your questions into the chat and we'll get to them as soon as possible, as soon as we read them. And we're going to be live on Facebook in a minute, which is a great thing. Pandemic is starting to wind down a little bit. We're starting to see a bit of shifts in our clientele as far as how much they're struggling. But still, that universal anxiety and those issues are really not going anywhere. So let's go live on... let's go live on Facebook here. So again, if you are one of the masses watching on YouTube, welcome. Welcome again. My name is Jim Cipollini. I'm a mental health coach, somebody who struggled for years with anxiety and panic attacks and have been able to work through them and sustainably use the techniques that we teach to feel incredible and not just like myself as I was before, but honestly even better than I ever have been. And that's a real gift. And I actually have a really good, I had an incredible week. I was doing an intensive and working with a client in California. A little bit of an issue with Facebook here. We're using stream key. Okay. I guess we can reset that if we need to here. All right. Make sure this is correct here. Let's save that. See if that works any better. We are trying to go live. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. I'm going to go live on Facebook here. Let's see if we have anything coming through on YouTube. To the few watching on YouTube right now, feel free to put those questions, check-ins, comments, stories. I want to know how you're doing. If you want to know about this Band-Aid on my nose, I'm happy to tell you about it. Even though it's a little not embarrassing, it's very anticlimactic. So we should be live on YouTube. No, we're already live on YouTube. We should be live on Facebook. Awesome. All right. So give me your check-ins, guys. Let me know how you're doing. While I am fumbling around a little bit here, just trying to get all set up. And you can pop those right into the chat category there. All right, perfect. So we're good there. Beautiful. Yeah. So for me, traveling, traveling this weekend, particularly with being on an airplane, it had been a long time since I was in an airplane. And part of the way anxiety works is that your body really habituates and can get conditioned. So it can either be conditioning towards feeling better, or it can be conditioning towards starting to feel like your comfort zone is closing in and like it's getting harder and harder to step out of it. So for me, flying was a bit of an interesting return to some anxiety. Before I got on the flight, I could feel myself like the day before and even the evening before, just having these really wild, irrational thoughts and this irrational fear of flying. And so I used all the techniques and all the tools I had. And I want to illustrate that for you. So it was really a combination of rationalization with calm and compassion. And this is just my recipe. This might be the perfect recipe for all of you. but it was body soothing techniques, sensory soothing techniques to really get in and start to feel better in the short term and feel better in the long term. So like before the flight, the day before, I could feel my anxiety of just like, what if there's turbulence? What if there's shaking? And it wasn't even that I was scared of like a plane crash. I realized as I looked into it more, what am I really scared of? What's the worst part of it? It was literally the bing when the pilot comes over the loudspeaker when he announces that there might be some bumps ahead, and the anticipation of that, and what does that mean? So I really focused in on, okay, so I'm scared of when that hits. And that was like the fear. It's like, please don't come on the loudspeaker. Please don't tell me there's going to be bumps. And even in and so I would use the techniques to be like, look, you've been through this before. They don't fly if there's going to be dangerous weather. They don't fly into winds that they think are unbearable or that are unable to immaneuverable. And so using all these stats like as rationalizations, like, hey, the likelihood of being in a plane crash is so impossible. It's more likely you're to be struck by lightning. So use these rationalizations to get through. Then it was just breathing. Like first it was breathing and body relaxing. At the same time as I'm doing this, just like, okay. Okay. And so I'm just soothing my body. I'm noticing where the tension is. I'm either sending the breath there or I'm just consciously working on, okay, relax. Just be relaxed. Like be limp. Just be kind of fluid and liquid. Be loose. And then all the meanwhile, including moving into it more. Well, what would it be like to be in a plane crash? Well, it would be kind of terrible, but then it would also be like, if the plane crashed, I would die, and that would be it. And so it'd be a short bit of fear, but maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would be cool. I've skydived before. That was amazing. I don't know what it would be like. And so I'm moving into it. And that's really the big thing. I'm calming my body. I'm rationalizing to calm this part of me that's really anxious. And I'm moving into the actual anxiety to explore it more deeply instead of being like, oh, this anxiety, I've got to get rid of it. I've got to get rid of it. It's like, no, it actually needs my attention. It needs my energy right now. And it was not a perfect journey going into the flight, but it was certainly different than it would have been, 5 years or 10 years ago. And I was so much more able to function in my day to day, even though I was in a slight state of anxiety and it would kind of climb, and I would just honor it with what it needed. And here's the best part. I get on the plane and I'm using these techniques and I'm like, please, please, please. Like I can feel this part of me like, please let the pilot say it's going to be a smooth ride. Let him say the weather's perfect. Let him. And there's another part of me. It's like, no, we want bumps. We got to get through this, man. This is irrational. We got to work through this anxiety. We can't just avoid it for the rest of our lives. And there was another part of me that was like, hey, you don't have to be perfect, man. It's really okay to have some anxiety. Like a lot of people are a little scared of flying, and that's okay. And a lot of people don't like turbulence. So there was this multi-pronged approach. Pilot comes on, does his spiel. And then for the next 4.5 hours, it was the smoothest plane ride of all time. Meaning I thought I was in my living room. There wasn't a bump. There wasn't a shake. There was nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like the rockiest the flight felt is when a large man walked past me to walk to the bathroom. And I just remember talking to this anxious part of me like, hey, you know, look it's okay. It's okay. And I just remember being like, I need to bank this experience the next time I'm a little worried about flying. Because I don't have a fruit hat on. I don't have an 800 number. I'm not a psychic. I don't predict the future. And none of me does that. So guys, welcome again. My name is Jim Cipollini. I work as a mental health coach specializing in anxiety and depression. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much for Ennis, who covered last week and covered the class last night. I was doing an intensive with a client out in California. And by the way, guys, if that's something you're interested in, if you feel like cramming in a bunch of intensive coaching in a week is for you, you can message us on Facebook to get more details on how to sign up for something like that. We also want to encourage you to schedule a free coaching call. I think the link is in the description. I may not have included it, so I'm going to put it in the comments both on YouTube and Facebook. And really, guys, this is for you to be able to ask your questions. What the heck? Ask your questions and get some insight here so that we can help support you through your journey from me and a company who is with people who have struggled with anxiety and been able to work through it holistically. And now we teach what's important. Let's see what we got for comments. Don says, "Hey Jim, what's up, Don? How are you? Give us a check-in, guys. If you're here reoccurring, please give me a check-in with how you're doing, what you're working on, what symptoms you're struggling with, or maybe some of the little victories you've been having. We have to celebrate the seemingly little victories. It cannot be all or nothing on this journey, because otherwise you're just going to be looking at how bad things are, how negative things are. So we have to celebrate the little victories. Did you have a good hour? Were you able to sit outside for 20 minutes? Did you go on a nice walk? Were you able to have a discussion that wasn't about anxiety with somebody? You know, all kinds of small victories like that are incredibly important to celebrate. So let's celebrate them. Ennis says, "Looking great, man. Quick question that has been coming up. How do you keep yourself from Googling symptoms?" Yeah. So it's really useful to frame the Googling of symptoms, if it's something you're doing excessively, as some sort of compulsion. And so the short answer is kind of the response and prevention therapy, right? So we put it's a type of exposure therapy. Excuse me, we're gonna make it smell nice in here. It's a type of therapy specialized for compulsions, and you kind of have to gauge what level your Googling is at. What you want to do is you intentionally set up what we call an exposure experiment, meaning you set up a time when you're feeling decent to expose yourself to whatever the trigger is. So typically when you're Googling symptoms, it's that you're worried, you have some kind of illness or health anxiety, some kind of hypochondriasis. You want to set up a time to think about whatever you're scared of and delay or stop the compulsion, meaning Googling symptom. What you're doing in giving yourself that amount of space between the stimulus, which is thinking about the illness or going into the health anxiety, giving yourself more time between that stimulus and the response. Thus the name response and prevention. Response and prevention? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. No, that's right. So you expose yourself to it, basically. You think about it and you sit still. And maybe you have some sensory soothing techniques, or maybe you do some heavy breathing, or some deep breathing, excuse me. So you may sit and you think about, well, okay, I'm really worried about COVID, and I feel like there's a sensation in my chest. What could this be? So you just feel the sensation in your chest. You do some breathing, some soothing breathing. You remind yourself that everything is going to be okay, because I promise you there is a part of you, even though the part of you that doesn't think things are going to be okay is loud, there is a part of you, and actually your foundation, that knows, not just believes, but knows that you're going to be okay. Breathe in through the nose, out through the straw, through the mouth. And you soothe yourself. And if you have to, you take your hands, you put them flat on the table, and you can just repeat, I'm okay. I don't need to Google. And you can have a whole list of things that you say in your mind. Googling has never taught me what was really wrong with me. My urge to Google is not based in reality. It's based in emotional reasoning. I am not this emotion. I am not this part of my mind. I'm here. And what I'm doing now is the best thing for my mind, even if it's uncomfortable. Actually, what's comfortable is this compulsion, and I need to step out of the comfortable into this uncomfortable to retrain and recondition my mind. And this is the best thing for me. And you just reaffirm and repeat this, and just repeat it and repeat it. And think of each time you say the phrase, think of each cycle of breathing as some form of one repetition. Just like you're at the gym. You do one bicep curl, and your bicep, that's one repetition for your bicep. Well, each cycle of breathing is one repetition for your mind. Each 5 seconds that goes by is one repetition for your mind in the new thought pattern. Now, you have to be realistic. Just like training your body, your biceps, your legs takes time. It can take weeks. It can take months to start to really see the physical manifestation. You have to do this training consistently to really see the change in your brain. We talk to people all the time who are like, I've been trying this new technique and it's just not working. It's like, well, how long have you been trying it? Well, I just talked to my therapist. I've been trying it for like 5 days. It's like, it's not enough. And it's just not enough. You need to do more, and you can do more. So don't give up. Get some good support, really good support, not just support, good support, whether it's therapist, coach, friends and family, but good quality support, and continue that repetition. But that's how you really keep yourself from not just Googling symptoms, but breaking anything that feels compulsory or like it's coming from a place of obsession. Sophia says, hi, Jim. Hey, Sophia, how are you? Good to see you, fellow Italiano. Diana says, hey, Jim, listening to you is so relaxing. I'm glad, Diana. You are helpful, and I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you too, Diana. Thank you so much for the love and support. Sophia says, I went to my first meditation class tonight. Good work, Sophia. How was it? Tell us all about it. Dawn says, good day today. Dawn, tell us all about it. Guys, let's hear details. Please, I feel like we're having girl talk. Details, please. Details, everybody. Tell us more. Tell us what's going on. Edita says, I went for a walk, cleaned the kitchen, went to the orchard to pick up apples, tension, headache, and all. Good for you, Edita. Good for you for, accepting the symptom, working through it. Hopefully you found a balance in there where you were able to rest and honor your body, but good for you for just not letting the symptom dictate what your day was going to look like. And spending time in nature, a thing like picking apples. Oh, that's like steroids, healthy steroids for your body. Let's say that's like a beautiful green smoothie or drink for your body. I love it. Great work. I went for a walk, cleaned the kitchen. Guys, cleaning is one of the best things you can do to channel that energy from anxiety into more of into something that's you can do. You don't need a lot of focus to do, but it's kind of an autopilot thing. And in the interim, it's taking something that's dirty and making it clean. It's going to have a beautiful effect on your psyche. So absolutely beautiful work, Edita. And Sophia, I would love to hear more about the meditation, what the meditation class taught you. Give us a free little glimpse into the class. How was it? When we talk about meditation for anxiety, a lot of times the meditation is simply just sitting and feeling the physical sensations, trying to channel through the thoughts, practicing letting the thoughts float by. And when we talk about meditation, we're talking about starting small, guys. It's not about having to clear your mind for an hour. It's about 2 to 3 minutes of just sitting and feeling your symptoms, feeling the physical sensations, maybe even pivoting into Ennis's favorite technique, which is telling your symptoms to bring it on. Go ahead, make it worse. Let's see what you got. A client asked a great question today. When you use the bring it on strategy, is it normal to have kind of a voice in the back of your head like, I don't want it to bring it on. I'm really scared. And that's extremely, extremely normal. What you're doing is you're carving this new neural pathway. You're training your mind. You're priming your mind to be different in the future with intentionality. And that takes effort. Again, in the same way you're training your muscles to be stronger by using the resistance of the weight, you're using the resistance of your mind to pivot into a new thought pattern. And that doesn't mean that the old thought pattern is closed yet. It takes time to open that new thought pattern. It takes time for that old thought pattern to kind of close off, and for the automatic response to be that new thought pattern, which is, I feel anxiety. Okay, let's go into it. Let's do it. What's the challenge? Bring it on. So again, it's very normal to, when you're doing the bring it on, like, let's go, like, let's go ahead, kill me, like make my heart go faster, make me, and then to even get to a place where you try to induce a panic attack, hold your breath. To those of you who have trouble breathing, or jog in place to try to induce that sensation of like your heart skipping a beat or something. It's okay. Again, the panic attacks are not going to kill you. They're not going to make you go crazy. When you get to this level and stuff, what you're doing is putting yourself in that position to adapt to that tough situation. So it's exactly the same as training for a marathon. It's like, you run a mile, then you run a mile and a half, then you run 2 miles, then you run 2.5 miles, and you're training to run those 23.6. I don't know what a marathon is, but you're training to run that long distance. And you can try to run 23.6 miles at first, and maybe you'll be able to do it, but just, do it slow and do it with the caveat of like, that's going to be a lot for your system. But I promise you, your mind, your body, your system is much stronger than you think it is. So take a deep breath, beef yourself up. And what you're doing is channeling the energy from the anxiety into anger and into this place of let's go. And you're reinforcing that kind of inner strength that you can handle it. And you're going to gain back some of the control over time, but give it more than a week. Anne says, hi. Anne says, the sun was out today, took walks, did exercises on YouTube. That's so great. What kind of exercises did you do? Oh, okay, so you didn't do physical exercises. I actually want to talk about physical exercise today because I feel like that's a piece that gets overlooked too often. The extraordinary benefit of physical exercise really was a huge staple for me as far as overcoming anxiety. And for me it was, and this happens a lot, there's this thing called the runner's high. And really what the runner's high is the runners exhausting their nervous system so much that there's no anxiety. And so I can remember when I was into long distance running, when I would run 8, 10, sometimes 13 miles. And, it would be, you're talking, for me, it was an hour and a half run. I was probably running 9 to 10 minute miles at that point. Nothing crazy fast. But, when I was done and I would get home and shower, it was this like no anxiety. I didn't have a thought. I didn't have a worry in the world. And that's because when you're doing these exercises, it doesn't have to be 10 miles of running. It could be 30 minutes of Tabata or high intensity interval training. It could be, a 45-minute jog on the treadmill, whatever. It could be a Pilates or an aerobics class, whatever. Your body just loves to exercise. It releases endorphins and all these beautiful chemicals. It burns off the anxiety and it just loves it so much. So to those of you who are really struggling, it's not the most comfortable way, but think about it this way. Are you comfortable now? So if you can channel that energy into anxiety, if you can coach yourself while you're running to say, hey, I'm not having a panic attack, or maybe I am having a panic attack, but that's okay. And if you have a panic attack while you're running, just take a knee, do your breathing, do your reframing, and then if you can, continue when you can, it's okay. But just soldiering through that and really, really trying to get to the place where maybe you're running an 11 or 12-minute mile, just barely above a walk, but you do that for long enough. And I'm telling you, you're way stronger than you can. Man, your system will feel amazing. Be conscious of your joints, be conscious of your physical restrictions, but there's almost always something you can do. There's almost always something you can do, and your body loves it. So I really want to focus on refocusing. I really want to refocus on refocusing on. I really want to refocus on exercise as a mode of getting from point A to point B and feeling better in the short term, because it's an incredible, incredible tool. Thanks for bringing that up. And even though you're talking about CBT exercises, I can see. And says, yes, I feel better when I clean. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Dawn says, a little anxiety this morning, and as the day went on, none for a change. Guys, can we send some love in the chat for Dawn, please? Having a beautiful day. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Good for you, Dawn. That's incredible. When was the last time you had a day like that? When's the last time you had, a low anxiety day? It has to be celebrated, Dawn. I would really encourage you to mark it in your journal, mark it on your calendar, so that when you're in that state of anxiety, when you're emotionally reasoning and you're not feeling so great, that you can look back and say, hey, right now I'm into a lot of all or nothing thinking. Everything sucks. I'm never going to get better, but I had a good day. And that's different than I did in the last 6 months. Or maybe it's now I had a longer period of a better day. You have to celebrate those seemingly small victories that are massive in treatment. If you were struggling with cancer and your symptoms were overwhelming and you started taking a medication or you started a new diet and you weren't feeling that much better, and then all of a sudden you had a good day where you're like symptom free, you'd be like, wow, that's a big deal. Here's the other thing, Dawn. Know that the next bad day you have might seem like it hurts 10 times worse. That's totally normal, because when you're feeling crappy all the time, it's just another crappy day. It's just another crappy day. But when you're feeling amazing and it's a change from the crappy, and then you droop back down to a crappy day, it feels like The Godfather 3, right? Just when I was out, they pull me back in. And it's important to, if you know this ahead of time, it's important for your resilience, and it's important for the short-term regroup. Guys, remember, you gotta pause, you gotta regroup, and you gotta re-engage with the treatment, right? And that's how you build resilience. Absolutely. And says, my therapist gave me some CBT exercises. Has helped. I did some cardio. Light walk and dance. The muscles ached like crazy. Next day, laugh out loud. That's the good ache, man. That's the ache of accomplishment. I love it. Great work. Great work, and keep it up. Talk more about the CBT exercises that helped you. What were you doing? Sometimes CBT is like exposure therapy, where you do something like you try to make yourself dizzy. You may hold your breath. You may run until your heart beats really fast. You're trying to induce a panic attack, and the CBT is simply you reframing that panic attack or those sensations, because don't necessarily have to be a panic attack. Let's check in with YouTube. Lisa says, "Hey, what's up, Lisa? How are you? Give us a check-in. How's everything going?" Guys, this is your opportunity to definitely ask those questions, share those stories. So don't be shy. Don't be shy if you're posting a whole bunch. It's all good. And feel free to link up with one another if you're looking for kind of a support partner, somebody to link up with that you can check in with, or that you're working on something with, an accountability buddy. It's an amazing, amazing strategy to get that good support. And I want to talk about good support for a little bit. Good support is not somebody who's necessarily willing to go down with you, somebody who will still set boundaries with you, but also somebody who has your best interest in mind. Now, we talk about trouble with partners, and if you check on our YouTube page, we did post that video about how to deal with somebody with anxiety, and that is for your husbands, your wives, your children, your family members who are struggling, who may feel powerless, who may feel like they don't know what to do to support you, who maybe are trying to give you unsolicited advice that really is just triggering you more, and so they feel even more frustrated. That happens all the time. But good support is really somebody who can set the boundaries to take care of themselves because they can't go down with the ship, but that honestly wants to help nurture you, that will do their best to support you in the way that is useful for you. And for you, that can mean being assertive about Number one, being vocal about what they can do to support you in times, things they can say, maybe things temporarily that they can stray from saying. And then two, for you, is being assertive about them understanding when you're in a compromised state and that you may snap and you may, be a little iffy, or you may be short with them, or you may not have the capacity to keep your attention focused on them because you may be compromised. You're in a temporarily compromised state when you're in panic attacks and high anxiety. So for you, it's also important to go back and do that repair when you feel a little better. Apologize, acknowledge it. Don't just sweep it under the rug. Even if they tell you it's okay, it's fine, still go to them and just be accountable. And that will do a lot to maintain those foundational relationships that you want to keep, you want to maintain, and keep them in a great place. And says, she gave me questions to answer, going over thoughts. Cool. I love it. Absolutely wonderful. CBT. CBT is really stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. So what we have in CBT is we stop necessarily trusting our thoughts to be true, and we start to be able to differentiate thoughts that are coming from a place of emotional reasoning, anxiety, extreme thoughts, future predicting thoughts, and just really starting with being able to differentiate those thoughts that are coming from a part of us or a place that's really scared or catastrophizing or worst case scenarioing, and separate them from the more grounded in reality thoughts. And what that does is actually, as you let those thoughts float by and you start to inject new thoughts, you really start to change the energy that you deal with the situation with. So, for example, something like, for me, feeling these physical sensations and like, I just can't get on this plane, I can't do it. It was taking that thought, I can't get on the plane. Okay, so I can't get on the plane. Realizing why it's distorted. Well, I can get on the plane physically. It's coming from a place of emotional reasoning. And there's a list, if you Google Dr. David Burns' cognitive distortions or cognitive distortions list, you'll be able to find a bunch of reasons of why your thoughts are distorted, because we're not future predictors. And we don't need to magnify or minimize things or avoid the positives or reason with things emotionally, because it's not rooted in objective reality. And so for me, it was that I can't get on the plane. I don't know what to do. I just can't get on the plane. And it was like, okay, I can get on the plane. So I would change the thought to, I'm feeling some fear of getting on the plane. And so then as I changed that, then the new thought came up, well, what if the plane crashes? And it turned into this kind of domino thing. Well, okay, it's statistically impossible. It's close to impossible as you can get with getting on a plane, getting in a plane crash. It's okay, but what if there's turbulence? It's like, well, then it'll be a little bit bumpy. But what if there's a big bump? It's like, well, then there'll be a big bump and things might move. And so I just kind of move along. But the thought replacement was more like, even though turbulence can be uncomfortable and trigger some anxiety in me, actually there's no proof for me that bumps on a flight are anything but normal. And then I would continue on. Southwest Airlines is a professional airline that has been doing this for years, and their best interest is to cancel flights instead of flying into inclement weather or dangerous weather, because a plane crash is catastrophic for their company. And just like all these different ways of reasoning. And that's part of what CBT is. It can also be, like I was talking about before, inducing a panic attack or putting yourself in one of those kind of exposure experiments and then reframing the event with more conscious and more open thoughts, meaning like, so putting myself into the plane and saying like, okay, I'm here right now. Wow, I'm here. And so then when there was turbulence on my way back, which I had a very bumpy ride back, it's just relaxing and saying, hey, everything I'm worried about is not happening now. Even these bumps, if I stay with these bumps, they're really not that bad. In fact, if I stay with these bumps, it's very, very manageable. And even when the bumps got heavy, it's like, this is still very, very manageable. It's like, I'm still just worried. When's the big one going to come? when's the siren on the plane going to go off? And it's like, none of that has ever happened to me. And I've flown probably like 50 times in my life at least. And so I'm just worried about this unreal, future predicting event that probably came to me from watching like Con Air with Nicolas Cage and John Malkovich. That's just such a sensationalization. And so it's like, maybe it's time for me to cool off on the extreme, action movies that are routed in reality. Wendy says, hi, Jim. Hey, Wendy. What's up? How are you? Great to see you. Hope everything's going well. I saw some of your pictures on Facebook. They're fantastic. Hope everything's going well. Dawn says, you should be proud of yourself. I wouldn't have got on the plane. Dawn, you are not a future predictor. And I would say that would be, I won't fly either. Let's do some CBT, ladies. Let's do some CBT. What I would say is, I wouldn't have got on the plane. What I would say, Dawn, is number one, what's really happening here, Dawn? Let's look at our list of cognitive distortions. And actually, I'll share this link into the chat here. This is a link from Dr. David Burns. Give him his credit. He's a great guy. There's a link. Your link of cognitive distortions right here. Okay. So let's check it out. So, a listed link of 10. I would say number one is emotional reasoning. So saying I wouldn't have got on the plane. I would say you're reasoning with the anxiety. That's emotional reasoning, right? So you don't know, but let's go to number two. So I would say number two would be jumping to conclusions, right? Fortune telling. And this in the case is kind of past telling. I wouldn't have got on the plane. Well, you don't know. What if I had been there with you and I'd been so nurturing and convincing and we'd cut through? Because the truth is, actually, you at your core, Don, are very, very calm and confident. You're very, very calm and confident. And typically what happens in a one-on-one session is you feed off of the coach's energy. That's why Ennis is so great. He's so calm and he's so truthful. And when you deal with somebody who knows, not only just speculates or has been educated, but has been through it and knows what you're going through and knows exactly what you need and believes it 100% because he's been through it too, which we have at this company. It triggers all these mirror neurons, and the mirror neurons in your brain feed off of that energy, that emotion. And so you feel that calm. That's why you get support like that, because we know that you're going to be okay. And we know that you can work through it. So we'd say you're kind of past and fortune telling. So we don't know. Maybe we would have been there and I would have looked at you and I said, Don, I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to try this. And it's okay if you're scared, but you're going to get through it. You're not going to die. You're not going to go crazy. You're going to be scared. And we're going to work on it because this is the perfect exposure experiment. And maybe, Don, you would have been like, I can't. And maybe you would have been like, damn, this is going to hurt. Okay. And you would have put on your figurative sword. You would have put on your figurative armor. And you would have gotten on that plane. And it would have been scary. And it might have been tough. But maybe during that flight, there would have been 10 minutes that you were like, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad. Because, Don, I thought exactly what you thought before that flight. And the whole damn flight, I thought, why was I so stressed out? There's nothing, I feel like I'm floating in a pool. Doesn't feel like anything. I would have never known I was flying. If I closed my eyes, I could have just visualized I was in my living room watching Who's the Boss. You know? You guys know Who's the Boss? So we'll do a little CBT. So what I would say as a replacement thought, Don, is I feel some anxiety about getting on a plane. And while I feel that anxiety, truthfully, I don't know if I would have gotten on that plane. That's the only thing rooted in truth is I don't know what I would have done. Because we don't predict. And so I would encourage you to say stuff like that. Is instead of saying, I wouldn't have got on the plane, to say, wow, thinking about that, I feel some anxiety. That's the only thing that's true right now. It's the only thing that's true. And the same with you, Sophia. I won't fly either. Is thinking about, back that off. If you back it off 1 degree to back it off to thinking about anxiety is scary for me. Thinking about anxiety is scary for me. Because that all or nothing, I won't do it, I won't do it, I won't do it, that's just a fear. That's just a fear. And we have to start to take those steps into the fear because you can and because you're strong enough and because that's the way to feel significantly better. 100%. 100%. Let's check in with YouTube. Lisa says, hey, not doing great. Lots of dark days lately. Tell us a little bit more, Lisa. What is a dark day for you? Depressive days, struggle days. But yeah, if you're willing to, just give me a little more specificity on what a dark day is. And as corny as it sounds, Lisa, the truth is it's always darkest before the dawn, meaning that whatever something might be trying to purge or pass through you. I had a gigantic purge on Sunday. That's one of the reasons I didn't do our class last night, was that I feel like there was something trying to detox, trying to exit from my body. And I had I never get headaches. I had this unbelievable headache where I could barely open my eyes. My body hurt. It ached like crazy. And it was an emotional purge. And that's how it works most of the time. I had been through some stuff in my relationship over the weekend that was heavy. It had caused me to struggle a bit. It's some stuff I'm working on in therapy, some really deep-rooted attachment issue stuff. And my body on Sunday just said, like, we have to get this out, man. And so I focused, I journaled, and I was flying at the same time, too. And so it was like a kind of a double-edged sword, and I got home, and what I had to do was I had to honor it. And I honored it by I canceled everything for Sunday. I canceled everything for Monday. And I said, I have to honor my body. My body needs to rest. And what happened was I slept and I rested and I nurtured my body and I listened to it. And by evening Monday, I felt significantly better. And had I just tried to push through or soldier on, had I kept up with the behavior, I think it would have still been lingering. And that's what my body needed. And so we have to work in tandem with our bodies. And so I would ask you right now, it's like, what is your body trying to tell you? Let's check in with our bodies, guys. Physically, what do you feel? Anxiety typically will manifest chest, stomach, back. Typically. It could be other places. It could be some tension in the arms, legs, anything like that. But typically chest, stomach, back. Check in with that first. Just be with your body. What does that feel like to just check your chest? Do you feel scared? Does it feel like your heart's beating and that scares you? So what I want you to do, if that's the truth, is just tell yourself, like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for my heart to beat like that. If you feel a knot or kind of a drop in your stomach, that's where I feel mine typically. It's what I was feeling when I was anxious over the weekend, just this terrible drop in my stomach. It was just focusing on it. Focusing on that sensation. Breathing. Not trying to push it out, but trying to be with it. Acknowledging it. I feel it. I feel you there. And just being with it. And checking with your back and neck. We hold a lot of tension, shoulders, neck, lower back especially. Is it tight? See what it feels like just to focus on the area. See if you could pinpoint the exact area where the tension is for you. And just breathe. And just feel it. Don't try to change it. Just feel it first. Be curious about it first. When's the last time you did this? Just try to relax your neck. Don't try to force it. You prime your neck. You take slow breaths now, hoping that maybe it'll calm, or maybe it'll calm in a few minutes. So the major headache rating, tension, overwhelmed. What does your body feel like it needs right now, Edita? Does it need to lay down? Don't try to run away from it. See if you can hear what it needs. If you have a headache, when I had a major headache Sunday, I needed to lay down and close my eyes. The light hurt. I tried to talk on the phone. Looking at a screen killed me. And it was like there was actually no position where I was perfect. And I consistently was having to adjust. My temperature was fluctuating. I had a fever. It was like I was cold. I was hot. Every movement felt like it hurt. I ordered groceries and my groceries sat outside for like 4 hours. And I said, that's okay, man. It's like, I'm going to do the best I can right now. And that's okay. And if anything, all you're doing is gathering data right now. You're gathering ways of being with your body. And it's a beautiful thing. Again, we do the work we're doing now. We find that balance of moving forward with honoring how we feel while still using some strength to set ourselves up for the payoff to be later. You don't always feel the payoff right away. That doesn't mean you stop the treatment. It doesn't mean you stop the good health behaviors. This is high-level stuff as far as treatment, as far as the techniques we talk about in class, we talk about in the live stream, we talk about in our one-on-one sessions. And it all works synergistically. Good support, good information, finding your balance of pushing yourself and resting, right? It all works synergistically. The good support can help you to push yourself, to have the energy to move forward. The right information will help you start to celebrate small victories, to acknowledge them, to know that you're feeling better, to help that part of you that feels like you're never going to get better, to calm down and be like, no, wait. I have a little bit of headspace to know I had a good day. I had a good day today. I had a good day yesterday. I had a good day 2 days ago. I haven't had a good day in months. We have to celebrate and acknowledge that, because otherwise it's an endless desert. It's the Sahara with no water. You are not, I want all of you to look at me. You're not doing everything you can, and that's okay. But you can't get hopeless until you've tried everything you can and you're not doing everything you can. I promise. There's hope. If you come here and you leave with one thing, please at least leave with hope. Please at least leave with the truthful foundation that you're not stuck, but you're not doing everything you can. Even if you feel like you are. I could list 50 things to you that you're not doing that would help. Sydney! Good to see you too, soul sister. And it's true, and you know it, and that's okay. It's like, look, you've got limitations, you've got whatever, you've got your restrictions, blah, 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 blah. You're disorganized, you're whatever, you're like this. Just do something. Do something. Do something. Wipe one countertop. Line your shoes up. Create order. If this feels chaotic, find little things you can do to restore order externally or internally. Let the thoughts pass by. Acknowledge 5 times that you had a good day today, Dawn. Sophia, acknowledge that you took your first meditation class. Cindy, acknowledge that you showed up to the live stream tonight. Acknowledge and start to shift the narrative. I'm weak. I'm hopeless. I can't do this. I can't handle it. Yes, you can. Make treatment your primary focus, not other people. Not taking the dog out. I got to do this and I got to do that. No. Ask for help. Delegate. Hey, I'm temporarily compromised. And if I had cancer, you wouldn't be treating me this way. If I had diabetes, you wouldn't be treating me this way. If I had rheumatoid arthritis, whatever. If I had something that showed up on some CAT scan or MRI, you'd be okay then. Well, why not now? Do you not trust me? No. Delegate. Find good support. It's out there. You've got a whole slew of people on this Facebook chat, in YouTube right now. There's so much support out there. But you're not doing everything that you can be. And that's okay. But you can't expect to feel better. Again, you do the stuff now to feel better in a month or 6 weeks or 2 months. And you stay the course. And you know what? It hurts. But you know what? You're strong. All right, that got real preachy. But it got preachy for a reason, guys. This is important. It's like if you're not investing your time, your energy, your strength into feeling better, it's like what better thing to invest in? What better thing to invest your effort in? Ennis said this great thing. He said, what did 5 years ago? I love this so much. This is so great. What did 5 years ago you think you could never do that you've done in the last 5 years? Maybe it's buy a house. Maybe it's live on your own. Maybe it's coexist with your parents. Maybe it's be in a committed relationship. Maybe it's get out of a crappy relationship. Maybe it's hold down a job. What are you going to be saying in 5 years that you never thought you could do? Get over anxiety. Stop trusting your thoughts. You don't have to believe your thoughts. Let's go back to YouTube. Lisa K. Yeah, tell me about them dark days, Lisa K, if you're still here. I'd love to hear more about them. It's like, I wish I could jump through the camera and look at all of you and just be like, hey, I know it hurts. It's okay. Because even when you're at home, even when you're in the recliner, on the couch, at home, in bed, depressed, whatever, does it feel good? Nope. Balance. Balance. Balance the effort with the rest. Balance asking for help temporarily. And here's the biggest part. Once you start to feel better, which you all will. Dawn had a great day today. Love you, Dawn. Great work. I assume you've been working for it. That's fantastic. First of all, write down everything that happened yesterday, everything that happened the day before, everything that happened 3 days ago. Get the data. Once you start to feel better, don't relax. That's the time to move into, well, what the hell led me to get here in the first place? Sometimes it's something as simple as like a drug-induced panic attack, and that spirals into this really deep anxiety because the panic attack acts as a trauma, and that's okay. So it seems like, oh, I just won't do drugs anymore. It's like, no, pause. Why were you so careless with drugs? Why were you so careless with taking that much of a dose? What led you to take that dose? It's not the drug that's the problem. It's the motivation. It's the intention. Why were you so careless with your health? Because guess what? If you were careless with your health once and you don't explore why, because there's a deep-rooted reason to that. I'm too trusting. I'm naive. I don't care about my body. I don't care about my health. If you're that trusting with it, if you don't get to that deeper reason, you're going to do it again. or there's a chance you might do it again. Maybe it's not with drugs. Maybe it's with I don't care about my body, so I don't take care of it. I don't exercise. I don't eat decent. I don't whatever. I don't question my doctors on the medications they want to put me on. I don't, whatever it is, the lack of intentionality. It's like, well, that's a reason that led to this situation. So I want to get to the source. Typically those sources, guys, some kind of stimulation, some kind of internal pressure. Stimulation can be anything from too much content to too much chaos in the life to too much family life. And the internal pressure can be, which stimulates the nervous system. And pressure is a stimulant. Low self-worth, people-pleasing, confrontation avoidance, lack of physical confidence, phobias, emotion suppression, speech suppression, feeling invalidated, feeling undermined, feeling minimized. I don't know which one it is. All that stuff. It's hard work, but you're all soldiers. Don't forget that. And it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of your journey. And says, last night I felt like I had a good night's sleep in a while. My anxiety sometimes affects my sleep. Sometimes that's when my mind overworks, and that's what I want to work on too. So the overworking, the rumination of the mind, it's a symptom. Brain's part of the nervous system. But yeah, typically that comes from a part of you, and it's more, you can look at it specifically, like what is the trigger for that. But typically the trigger, like, okay, here's an example. For me, I was feeling this really, I was in a place, I have this really strange, deep-rooted attachment issue. At sometimes it just feels like it randomly gets triggered, and so grateful to go through it, and it was so painful. So grateful that it was triggered with my girlfriend. Just happened to go out, was out late. I was in California, she's in Tennessee, and it just, for some irrational reason, it triggered this really deep attachment response where I couldn't sleep. I was ruminating, and it was triggered by other environmental factors. I had caffeine late that day. I was sleeping in kind of an unfamiliar place. I wasn't super comfortable. It was too hot. There'd been some tension in the intensive I was doing, whatever. So it was triggered. And I dealt with it in the moment as best I could. I used all the soothing techniques that I could in the short term. And it was a messy night. It was tough. I didn't sleep well. And I sat down the next day and I just wrote about it. Wrote out all what happened. I wrote out the symptoms. I wrote out the feelings, where it was physically. When I started writing it out, it made me think of, well, where could this have possibly come from? Where have I felt this before? I felt it in other relationships. When did I feel it even earlier? I felt like, okay, this is a familiar feeling, whatever. Add the information I have, and I have it in a note for my therapist so we can discuss it right here. And the truth is, the fact of writing it out not only helped, but started helping me link it to other things. So I gave it some attention. And so I have it here that I can discuss with my therapist. So my mind was overworking. And again, it was a symptom of a lot of other things, but it manifested through that. And so, Anne, I'm wondering if that's something that's happening with you. So I could have focused on the thing, which I did, but I also have to look at the environment. What was my state? And my body, I had changed my diet, so my body was detoxing in a positive way, which is great. I mean, it's all these factors. Okay, Cindy says, I'm sure glad sitting here watching this because I'm dealing with a lot on my plate and need to hear this. Hey, yeah, and Cindy, I would say, and I'm not coming at you, but this is kind of the way of thinking is like, do I feel like I'm always dealing with a lot on my plate? Do I always feel overwhelmed? Is this a cycle? Realistically, Cindy, is this a cycle for you? Because the chances are it is. And the chances are there's a reason why actually subconsciously you keep repeating the cycle. Maybe the pressure gets you to act. Maybe it's, rooted in some sort of discomfort with some sort of belief in whatever. It's like there's a reason the cycle keeps manifesting. Not coming at you, Cindy, but this is the way we have to start thinking, is back off, back out of the experience, come from that more observational place. Why does this keep happening to me? It's not a blame thing. It's really a curiosity. Exercising the inner scientist. What is going on? Why do I keep running out of money? Why do I keep getting in these terrible relationships? What do I need to do to understand this better? Get the good support, get the good information, and explore. Wendy says, a year ago I was a sorry mess. Jeez, Wendy, easy on yourself. Be loving. Be loving. Be loving to yourself. That's rough. I reached out for help, and thanks to Jim and some hard work, I'm so much better today. Still working on it, but I feel like I'm a part of the human race again. Guys, let's give some love. Give some golf claps and love to Wendy, please. She's working her ass off. Excuse my language, Wendy. I'm sorry. But great work. Great work. Now, don't look at Wendy and be like, oh, my God, I'm never going to get there. I said, no, look at Wendy as like she was saying the same thing. She was pretty stuck. She's saying she called herself a sorry mess. I don't love those words. I wouldn't agree. That's rough. Cindy says, no, it's dealing with housing situation and a bad landlord situation, legal issues. Yeah, but Cindy, why back? Rewind. How did you get in this situation? I hear you. It just says, my mom triggered me by drinking and then choking. My parents are triggers. Yeah. It's like practice. The detachment, what led you into being sucked into that trigger. It's like some things are going to be rational, like somebody choking is just scary. You don't want them to choke and die, but sometimes it's like the drinking. It's like, let them be, let them go through their journey. You can guide them. You got to decide your level of engagement, but if you engage with them and you're not feeling great on your own, you're just walking into a fire and you have no protection. No protection if you're not feeling well. Even if you're grounded, it's hard to walk into somebody else's fire. All right, guys. Well, let's call it for tonight. I have so much love for all of you. It's a total privilege and honor. Guys, if you want to schedule a free coaching call, message us here on Facebook. Follow the link in the chat. If you want to join the class, message us here on Facebook. We'll talk about that. One-on-one, messages here on Facebook. We'll talk about that. Any service that we have that we can help you, please check out, subscribe to the YouTube page. We are just reached over 100 subscribers, which is a big deal for us. We're consistently and constantly putting out content. There's 2 new videos from last week, including the video that we put up 2 weeks ago, how to deal with somebody who struggles with anxiety. If your friends, relatives, family, husbands, wives, sons, whoever who's struggling with somebody with anxiety, that's the perfect video to send them and say, hey, this will give you some insight. Watch the whole thing, and this will give you some insight on what you can do and really the right mindset of how to make peace with the situation. So please follow that. You can just search for Inner Solutions on youtube.com. Other than that, guys, I have so much love for you. Don't forget, and don't ever forget. Don't forget and don't ever forget. I felt like I had something else, but my brain skipped a beat. Don't forget, no matter where you are, no matter how long you've been struggling, no matter how intense it feels or how hopeless you feel, I promise you, you're never stuck. You might just need some good support. For Inner Solutions, I'm Jim Cipollini. Thank you guys so much. You need anything, message us here on Facebook or email us at hello@innersolutions.academy. Until next time, lots of love and good mental health. Thanks, guys.